Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Webway. This podcast is brought to you by Clothing. We've got some new hoodies dropped this week for pre-order. Those have already dropped. We've also got some fleeces, navy and black fleeces that I'm wearing now, drop next week. So go online, check them out, www.uno.co.nz. Anyway, to the podcast, got one of the homies. I know I say one of the boys every single time, but this is actually one of the homies. Been through a lot together, known him for a long, long time, but what I'll let him do, I'll let him introduce himself. So what's good, my G?
What's up, Webby? You good?
Yeah, good, brother. Good to have you on, G. It's been a while, eh?
It's been a while. Made it happen. Appreciate you having me on. My name is Aaron Young. Born in Phoenix, Arizona. Shout out Suns. Nah.
Let's go.
Nah, I haven't really been on that bandwagon too long, so I can't really claim them. But
got to.
Yeah, born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. My mum's from the States. My dad's a Kiwi. I've been living over here since I was 12 and love it.
It's awesome, bro. As I say, I flattered with Aaron. I've been through a lot together. But what I thought we'd do to start off with, I usually go into your journey and stuff. But right now, because we're both basketball heads, NBA Finals is on right now, bro. Ooh. How are you feeling about that,
bro? I said this to a few people. That Game 5 was probably one of the best NBA Finals games ever.
Yeah,
I watched that shit. That shit was crazy.
Yeah,
just like you saw the first quarter, right? And the Suns came out, and just the energy, and they were just clicking on all cylinders. And then, excuse me. And then the Bucks just responded that second quarter, like 42 points, and then from there it was just kind of back and forth. And then you felt like the Bucks had it in the bag, and then Booker just goes off. Bro, it was just crazy. And then, that last sequence when Drew just stole it off. And, obviously real hoop heads have understood how important that guy is to every team that he plays for. But it's really cool to see him kind of get his moment and, like, his shine that he deserves because, like, he's probably one of the best two-way players in the league.
For sure.
So for him to have that moment and then just throw it up to Giannis and he just gave him that look, bro. That's what the finals are all about, bro. Like, those close games on the road. I love for the Suns to pull it out and win Game 6 and take it back to Game 7, but you can't hate like greatness across both teams. So yeah, man, it's been a great series.
It's been an unbelievable way, bro. Like, and it's cool. Like, obviously Steph Curry, LeBron, like, love seeing them in their most years, but having them out of the picture has almost been cool because you see people like, Devin Booker's always a hooper and people know he's a hooper, but like, when you get to the finals, it's a different situation. It's not the regular season. Like, remember when they still actually do call the Milwaukee Bucks a regular season team? And, if they get this Game 6 or Game 7, hopefully people will stop saying that,
Yeah. No, I think, both teams deserve all the respect and, the credit that they're getting. And now they're just battling it out. And, they don't want to drop another one. Obviously, the Bucks don't want to drop their Game 6 because it goes back to Game 7. Oh, my gosh.
Bro.
Crazy.
And it's crazy how, like, one sequence can make, like, a difference. Like, when D-Book had it, he was, 20 seconds or whatever to go, and I thought he was going to do a young pull-up, but it got, like, that could have been the game. Yeah. But then Drew steals the ball, gets a alley-oop to Giannis, and that's it, bro. You know what I mean?
I don't think, like, people understand how good of a defensive team the Bucks can be, or they are. Like, they have PJ Tucker, one of the best defenders in the league.
Correct.
Obviously, they have Giannis, who's, an elite all-time defender in terms of his athleticism, his reaction, and all that kind of stuff. Middleton's tough on the perimeter, and then Drew Holiday. Like, those four dudes on the floor, like, you ain't scoring nothing easy. Nothing easy. And then they got Brook Lopez, who's like 7'2", but he can't even play because, like, that's how high level it is at the NBA in the finals. Because, like, in any other, like, I think that's why a lot of they get so much success is because Brook Lopez in most teams he's a top player. For sure. But now he's getting exposed because the offensive talent's so high. So, the Bucks ain't no joke.
And on the other end of that, like, Milwaukee, like, they've got an all-time defense team, but Devin Booker's out here scoring 40 a game, so it shows you how good of a scorer he is. You know what I mean? Yeah,
he's a special talent, man. I love watching him play. He's just, I think what I love about him the most is just his mindset. Like, you saw it in the Clippers series. Like, Pat Bev and those guys were trying to get under his skin, and he was just, like, so locked in. And that's a bit of that Mamba, that Mamba mentality that he's got, obviously passed down from, the great Kobe. But, man, it's cool watching him play. He's just so focused, and, nothing phases him. It was actually interesting. The last game was probably the most emotional I've seen him, like, in terms of responding to the refs. he wanted that game so bad, and you know that's what the finals brings out of you.
Bro, it's crazy. What's your prediction?
Man, it's going to be tough to beat the Bucks at home, man. Like, they're just going to be firing.
Yeah.
They've had some big playoff games at home. Like, they're a much better team on their home court. So I'd love for the Suns to get one back and take it back to Phoenix. But, I'm going to say Bucks in 6.
Yeah, Bucks in 6. Damn, because, if it does go to Game 7, bro, ooh. Chris Paul, D Book.
I hope
at
I'm
home.
wrong.
Yeah. I want TC to get one, bro.
Oh, man.
I mean, he's gonna get one anyway, but
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
I said, because I shared on my Instagram about one of person that we know who played in New Zealand NBL, Torrey Craig. If he wins or if he loses, he still gets an NBA ring because he started the season with the Milwaukee Bucks. So regardless, he gets a ring. And I put on my story being like, congrats to bro, like he gets a ring regardless. And he's like, bro, if it's not with the Suns, it doesn't count. And I respect that, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Bro.
I mean, he deserves it either way. Like, he's been, like, it's been really cool to see his, obviously his journey. And you're obviously someone that's really close with him. But, hopefully he gets it with the Suns.
Bro, I hope so too, man. I hope so. Also, big week ahead. You've got the Final Four for the NZ NBL. How are you feeling about that, brother?
Yeah, feeling great. Like, we've had a great couple of weeks. We got to play the Saints on Saturday night, which was interesting. Obviously, a game that didn't mean anything in terms of implications for the playoffs or seedings or anything like that. So, I mean, we gave it a crack. Obviously, you got to be on your best game to beat the Saints in any season, especially this year. That they're a tough team, but we got the dogs to go out there and give it a crack, so I'm excited.
Sure. No, it was good. Sorry for context, Aaron is the head coach of the Auckland Huskies, one of the Auckland NBL teams up here. But yeah, bro, it was funny. I mean, did you? I don't know if you heard this little Samoan guy in the crowd, Lima Sopuanga. Bro, did you hear him?
Oh, bro, usually I'm like locked in, focusing games. There's a couple of times I just glanced up and Lima and JV were just going at it. It was crack up.
Bro, it was the funniest thing ever. I mean, just to paint a little picture of people that are listening, like Lima Sopuanga, he was an All Black. He's, just one of the boys, but he was giving it to Auckland Huskies. And I'm telling, like, everyone in the crowd obviously knew who he was anyway, but he was just giving it to them. Love Brooke Roscoe, you're my boy. I think I mentioned him at every single one of my podcasts. But, bro, he went 0-4 from the line, and Lima was yelling out, Giannis enters the combo. He was counting him down like 1, 2, and he had like people around him doing it too. Just blatant disrespect, but you gotta love him, bro. But yeah, how are you feeling going up to this weekend? Because you're in the Final Four. You got the Saints again in the semi-finals. How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean everything's focusing on the Saints. Like we can't look ahead to anything after that. So it's been cool. Like prep. Like I said, we played the Saints on Saturday, so we basically had 2 weeks to prep for the Saints. Obviously, the game on Saturday, and then it wasn't like guaranteed that we were going to play the Saints, but it was looking very likely. So it's been cool as a coach, just being able to obviously treat every training every day like you're getting ready for one game.
Yeah.
But these are the moments in the games that you live for as a coach, as a team. So we'll just see what happens.
For sure, man. It's crazy. It's crazy for me seeing my boys both, Jay Mills, obviously the GM of the Wellington Saints, and then Aaron, both my mates, going head to head. It's fucking awesome, bro. So proud of you, eh? Sure. So who's in the other semi? Is it Southland and Hawke's Bay?
Correct.
How are they looking?
Both good teams. Hawke's Bay have really come into form the last month. Going into the season, they were probably the most talented team, and they're showing, how talented they can be. The last 4 weeks or 4 rounds. So they're going to be tough, but Southland have been consistent all year. I think they got Pledger back, which is a cool story. Like he played in the last game of the season, and I believe he's eligible to play. So he'll give him another piece. But more importantly, it's just cool for him to be back on court after everything that he's gone through with his cancer and stuff like that. So it's going to be an exciting couple of days.
That's crazy. And last question about the Huskies. But what's it been like, coaching alongside your boy Sonny? Sonny's been in the picture for, you guys been coaching for a while together, even against each other for high school teams. And what's it been like having him in sort of involved in your team?
Bro, it's been amazing, man. Like, it was so funny. I actually asked him to be my assistant, like maybe a month or 2 months before the season. And he kind of was like, oh, yeah, I'll help out, but I'll just help out from, afar. And then he kind of realized, man, I want to jump in, and he didn't realize that there were certain people that were like kind of be involved and stuff like that. So he was like, once he found out that, he was like, I'm all in, and I was like, bro, we're on.
Was it cool? It's cool though,
Yeah,
like, you know, because he's your mate first. I mean,
he's my mate, but like he challenges me on stuff, gives me great ideas, and we're just bouncing ideas off each other. Like, he's so smart in terms of the game of basketball, and you know, he asks the right questions. He's great for the group. Gets along with everyone, so like, man, it's been such a blessing to be able to work with him. You know, one of my best mates, but also like someone that can obviously help me. You know, in terms of having what I need to do for the team. He ticks all those boxes, so it's been great. For
sure, and I think it's good that he's your mate first, because you know that if he's challenging you, it's coming from the right place. He's not, just, you know what I mean? It's not just like it's a random coach trying to come for your spot, or like, you know, not coming from the right spot. But I mean, it's cool to see you guys out there, even. Because only reason I say this is because watching from the crowd, bro, seeing Jay Mills and then obviously the boys that are playing like B. Russ and stuff, but you and Sonny, it's just like, it's almost like a dream, bro, seeing all the homies out there doing their thing, you know?
For real.
It's crazy. All right, bro, we'll go into your journey, because I know you've had a cool one. As you say, you were born in Phoenix, and then, because you've moved, I remember you saying you moved around a little bit, so you were there till you were 6, you say? And then moved to...
Yeah, so I was born in Phoenix. Both my parents are teachers, so they were teaching at the time. And then when we were 6, we actually moved to Kuwait, which is in the Middle East. Both my parents got jobs over there at the American School of Kuwait. The plan was to go over for 2 years and then come back to either to the States or potentially somewhere else. But, you know, it was a great opportunity for my parents, opportunity for them to make some money, basically live rent-free. And the living over there is quite cheap. So they obviously took that opportunity to kind of set our family up for kind of long term. But we ended up staying 6 years, which was crazy. But it was just a real cool experience. Like, a lot of people ask me about it, but you know, because we worked I went to an American school. There was so like the community and like the teachers and the kids were so close with each other, because everyone kind of lived together. We had like our own apartment block that all the teachers lived in, and obviously their kids I was extremely close with. So, bro, we would just spend every day like chilling, hanging out, and then obviously at school. It was a cool experience to obviously just be in that different culture, so many different like ethnicities, and you know, people going to the school, because it's an American school. It's not an Arab, Arabic school. Definitely some adversity through those times.
I was gonna say,
you know, at that time, the Gulf War had just finished.
Oh, true.
So you know, America had a bad rep around the world, especially in the Middle East, especially in Kuwait. So you know, when I first moved over there, it was definitely an adjustment. A lot of the rich Arab kids weren't too, you know, high on American kids, especially white, kind of blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids. So,
bro,
I mean,
so you just fit the description,
man. And
Damn.
like, it was, but I guess for me, it was a really cool experience in terms of just being able to adapt to different people, different cultures. They obviously had a reputation, but you kind of had to earn your own rep over there. So, something I had to learn from a young age. Like I said, the culture was so different. Like, people don't really understand, like, when, like, the Middle East, there's so much shit that you can't get away with. Like, you can't drink. If it's Ramadan, you can't eat during the day, and if you get caught eating during the day, like, you can get fined, or, you know, even worse. You can't show any skin when you're you know, going to, you know, like, things that we take for granted here, like you going to the beach, like that shit doesn't fly in the Arab countries, especially, you know, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. So you just had to be real careful with that kind of stuff. Had to be really careful about what you said. Like, you couldn't even like joke about anything the government doing, like all that kind of stuff, because you just never know.
Yeah, you never know who's listening.
Never know who's listening. So like I said, it really helped me adapt to, you know, a different environment, a different culture. And I think that's kind of obviously what's helped me grow into a person. Like, at a young age, you just got to, you know, kind of roll with the punches and, yeah, see how it goes.
That's crazy, man. So you must have seen so many ethnicities and so much diversity. But I think that's cool. I mean, do you still stay in touch with anyone from over there? Or?
Yeah, I do, actually. I've got a couple of close friends that, you know, I message on IG every now and then. And,
sure.
You know, more so my parents' close friends that we stay in touch. And if they come to New Zealand, there was like 3 or 4 New Zealand families when we were there, so
sure,
we kind of link up with them every couple of years. So, yeah, no, it's cool to have
That's
those
dope.
bonds with
Yeah.
people. Like, obviously, you spend a lot of time away from your home country, and then you come back here and you get to see them. But yeah, definitely, man, a cool experience. What I think the thing I appreciated the most is I got to travel.
Oh, bro, for sure.
So
Where'd you go?
so we couldn't, you just couldn't stay in Kuwait during the summer. It's just too hot.
Yeah,
Right? It
like
get
how
up to-
hot are you talking? Like in terms, not Fahrenheit.
There
like-
was like I'm not even kidding. There was a summer where it got up to 55 degrees. 55 degrees.
What?
No joke.
Fuck, so you're making your fucking fried eggs outside, G, on the fucking curb.
I mean, you just don't even go outside. Like, and you know that sounds bad, but like every apartment or every house has got an AC, and you just live inside. Like, you don't even go outside. But even at night, it gets up to 40, 45 degrees. It's just ridiculous. So
Your AC is just
yeah.
fucking blasting, eh?
So just for your own like mental health and your own good, like when it gets to summer, you get, obviously in the American school system, you get like 2 to 3 months off. Like that's the big break. But during the year, you only get kind of 1 or 2 weeks here and there. So every summer we'd go either back to the States or we'd go traveling. So I went to one summer we went to Europe and just traveled all around there with some
dope.
other people. Got to experience that. One summer we went to Africa, which was dope. Went to Egypt, went to Kenya. So got to experience like that whole like side of the world. So, you know, you're at a young age, I feel like you don't appreciate it as much, but looking back on it, you do. But obviously when you're in the moment, you're like, man, this is crazy. Like so just being able to kind of experience that was pretty life-changing.
That's crazy, man. Going to Egypt. Hey, speaking of Egypt, the bro Alessandro just what's the word? Sorry, proposed to his partner.
Yeah.
So congratulations, guys.
Congrats, Sana.
We on, boy. Lego. But so after you were in the Middle East, where did you go? Because you were there for 6 years, so until you're 12, and then
So
you sort of got hit into the high school age now.
yeah, so when I turned 12, we had a decision to make. So we actually, we got evacuated from Kuwait because at the time, this is when George W. Bush was basically, that was like the whole weapons of mass destruction era. So
Damn, you've seen it all, bro.
yeah,
Jeez.
so we were there, and there was like when I was living in Kuwait, this was when I was 12. We had already planned on moving somewhere else, but they kind of like obviously sped up the process. But there was like a bomb that hit one of the malls down the road, like just like and then shit was just getting serious. And then after that, we just had to get out of the country. So we're like, fuck, where do we go? Like, we don't know where to go. So we ended up going back to New Zealand. And then from there, we had to make a decision either to go to the States and go to high school there or stay in New Zealand. And my mom wasn't too high on going back to her home country and going back there. And New Zealand just made sense. So we looked at
Seemed pretty safe, right?
Yeah, it seemed pretty safe. So we decided to start up. I think I did a half a semester at Murray's Bay Intermediate.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then went to Rangitoto decided to go to Rangitoto for my high school years.
Oh, that's awesome. And when you went to Rangitoto, you obviously met all the boys. And when did you first find your love and passion for basketball?
Yeah, so it's funny because when I lived in Kuwait, like football, like soccer is the only thing that they do, and I was obsessed with soccer. Like I'd watch every game, have my favorite players. I was talking about, we traveled one summer. We went to Spain, and I got to go to a Camp Nou game, Barcelona. I think it was a Euro. It wasn't Champions League, but it was like a Euro Cup league or something. And it was just crazy. Like we had great seats, and like I was just like obsessed with that. Like that was me. But then when we moved, so when I moved to New Zealand, I kind of played a little bit of basketball my last 2 years, and when I was in Kuwait, and kind of started to enjoy it. And then when I got to when I got to New Zealand, something just switched, and I just kind of started playing a little bit more. And from there, I just kind of started to play. Yeah. Played at like kind of a junior level, and then we had some great teams, had some good coaches, and then from there we just kind of kept building, and from there the love grew. And I haven't looked back since. Because
what I found sort of unique about your journey is that obviously you hooped, you played basketball, but you sort of worked out at a young age that you didn't want to carry on playing. You saw the game a little bit differently than most people, and you sort of went down that coaching route, not in high school, but maybe a little later, right? So how did that come about, bro? Because I mean, from my point of view, as you try to chase the gym for as long as you can, and then if you can't, you go coach. So
Yeah, I mean, for me at high school, like we had some good teams. I think we finished 4th at nationals one year. In my my 7th form year, we had a good team. We had a chance. I think we lost to Westlake, Robbie Lowe, and that squad who.
Bro, that shit was ridiculous. It's like a cheat code though. This motherfucker was windmilling. I was saying on the last party we were tied. This guy was like windmilling before windmill was a thing, bro.
So
especially in high school.
Yeah, bro. So he. So we lost them in the quarters, but we had a good team, like good culture, like good group. But I think it was even in my year 12 year, like I don't know. I just felt like I saw the game differently. I was always intrigued by like the X's and O's and just like strategy. Like I'm all about like time and score, like picking up on all those little 1% of things that it's all mental. Like knowing when to have knowing when to take fouls and like all that stuff. I felt like I always had that edge over players. Yeah. Even though I wasn't the most talented, or like when I got up there, that's what I prided myself on. And I think that's what going into my last year of high school, I just kind of kept on building, and I just enjoyed like trying to be like the smartest guy on the team, and just having conversations with the coach, and just having that relationship that I could obviously pass on. And I was never one of those players who cared about like my minutes played. I just wanted to help my team. And like if that meant I had to just sit on the bench and just like talk to people during the games, like that's what I was going to do. Yeah. And if obviously I'm out there, I'm going to try and help teams, just be that floor general. It's crazy to me. Like I'm going off on a little bit of tangent, but like for me, I was just like always a big talker on the floor. Like I would just talk to people. Yeah. And I guess that helps because you're so locked in, you just can tell people where to go. But that shit blows my mind these days, like how people can't talk on the floor. And I think we're probably one of the worst countries in the world at like just not being able to communicate on the floor. I don't know if it's because we're not smart, like our IQ isn't too smart, or if we have, obviously confidence issues and stuff like that. But man, like if you can just have like 5 guys that talk on the floor, man, it goes such a long way. So I felt like I always prided myself on that side of the thing, like of the game. Yeah. And yeah, just whatever you can do to help your team win. I feel like you just got to buy into that.
Yeah. So you think, because it makes so much of a difference talking and you're all on the same page. It's almost like you got a 6th man out there. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's people just aren't confident enough? Or like, for example, I mean, if you're the 12th man and you come on, you start talking heaps, people might be like, what the fuck's this guy up to talking to us, But I think you shouldn't be like that, right? You need to be saying, yo, I'm here to help you out. He's here to help the team out, Like, even when I played back in the day, bro, and I wasn't one of the main players, but I still, especially when I was playing Saints, I was the fucking cheeky one on the sideline, dapping people up, bro. That makes so much of a difference. You can ask any of those boys, you know what I mean? It makes so much of a difference.
And it doesn't require talent, and it doesn't take a lot. It's just a mindset. It's just an effort. But I think a lot of it, especially these days, comes down to kind of the generation that we're in. I see it firsthand with the Huskies. I see it firsthand with my school team that I coach at St. Kitts. There's so many, different factors that go into it. I think the biggest one is confidence, like knowing what you're doing when you're out on the floor. But I think that obviously the next layer of that is just, the social side of things, and like we're in that kind of
too
generation.
Cool. Yeah,
Instagram, like everything, like people just like it's just straight facts. Like people just don't know how to communicate to each other as well as they used to. Yeah. And so that kind of translates from off court to on court if you don't have that confidence, to be able to communicate. So I think those are probably the 2 biggest reasons. Yeah. So you left Rangi Toto, and then what did you do after that, bro? Because did you know then that you want to be a coach? Nah, I mean, it was something that so from there I decided to go to uni. I went to AUT on the Shore. At that stage, I wanted to kind of get into kind of sport rec. Like that was what I knew I was passionate about. Yeah. Took some coaching papers, but that definitely wasn't the reason why I got into coaching. Yeah. I mean, it's very kind of scripted in terms of like this is how to coach and stuff like that, which I don't really agree with. Yeah. But there are some good things that you can take from those kind of classes and stuff like that. But my first kind of year and the first experience that got me into coaching was I coached a year 7 and 8 Ames team, Tekapuna Normal Intermediate. This is where I did my co-op. So this is part of what I did. So yeah. I coached the team the whole year. Cruz Pero Hunt was in that team. Oh yeah. And a whole bunch of other good kids. Who now, for people that don't know, he plays in the States, right? Plays in the States. He's had a stint with the Tall Blacks and obviously one of the up and coming, young players. Yeah, point guard, combo guard. Yeah. So I got to coach him when he was in year 8. We ended up winning Ames. And
oh shit!
Yeah. So that whole experience of like coaching a team and not having like, you know, aspirations to kind of win at the start of the season, but like kind of building as the season went on. And I remember we had some crazy games. There was this one game in this like Auckland tournament final that we had, and the referee just had it out against us, and we had a buzzer beater on the layup, and the guy, like, he caught it. We got a steal. We're down 2, and then, you know, that level, there's no shot clock, so like they were trying to hold it out. We stole it, kicked it ahead. The guy caught it, took 1-2 steps, made the layup on the buzzer. We all went nuts. The referee blew the whistle. He's like, "Nah, travel."
Oh my gosh,
man, bro! The kids on that team were devastated, bro. Like, you couldn't even, like,
Can you go upstairs or nah?
Bro, even if you could, this referee wasn't having it. Like, he had it out for us the whole game, and we just had to. But I told the guys, like, this is what's gonna get us to that Ames championship. Like, we're gonna win this because we've felt this. We know how it's gonna be. So it's kind of cool, like, just to have that sequence and to have like that impact on those players. And then we won the final at Ames. It was close, and we just kind of grinded it out. But that's the first coaching experience that I had that got me into coaching. I was like, fuck, I want to do this.
And you got the taste for it.
Yeah,
and you
bro.
got the taste from,
Yeah.
I guess, you know, having a bit of devastation to going to the chip and winning.
Yeah.
So after that, you did a little bit of stuff for the NZ Breakers, right?
Yeah, so I started off as a junior coach with the Breakers, just did in-school coaching. Good way to make some money, and it was, you know, for me, I don't mind working with kids. That's part of being a coach, and I really enjoy it. And when you wear that Breakers logo, especially at that time, you know, we're coming off multiple championships. Like, the kids, they look up to you big time. So, man, it was a great job. Again, like, being able to make an impact on kids' lives. There was obviously times where I brought in a few of the Breakers boys to come with me, and you just see like the excitement. So the days would just go like that. Like,
they're like superstars, though, eh?
Superstars.
Because especially because at that time were they going in 3-peat run? Was that it? Or was it before?
There was after the 3-peat run, kind of 1 year between, and then they won so they went 3, 1 year off, and then they won again.
Yeah.
So, man, it was obviously the Breakers were buzzing at that time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think this is when I met. We'll go back to Bill, but I think this is when I met you at the Mansh, right? Is when you were doing the Breakers stuff. So Aaron, when I first met Aaron, we lived in a place called the Mansh, which some people might know. It's a house in Greyland. It's basically mansion. That's why it's called the Mansh. But most of our best mates now, we've all met there and we've all stayed in touch. I don't want to name them because there's so many of them, but it's crazy to think, the people that were in that house and how influential that house was. Not even consciously how much that sort of affected our lives. So you want to talk about the Mansh a little bit and how that affected you?
I think the biggest, obviously, we had some great times in that house, and just surrounded by great people. Like, there was obviously people in and out. I think I stayed there for 2 years. Obviously, got to build some great relationships and friendships through that, which is pretty special when you look back on them. And obviously, still very close with all those people that we live with. But I guess the one thing that affected me in a positive way staying at that house is you're just surrounded by hustlers, like just straight hustlers. Like, look at yourself and like what you've done now. Like, I could go down the list of everyone that I live with, and everyone was just on that grind. Like, Sammy J was there, Stan, like all at different points in their careers. Like, obviously Ruben Tarangi, Tip,
Nafi Tuituvaki,
Nafi, JV, like,
bro, JV is now on My FM.
Yeah.
Taryn, obviously she was in there for a decade. Shout out to Taryn.
Teza.
Shout out to Taryn, bro. She's the plug.
She's the plug.
Hey.
She brought everyone together.
Bro.
Right?
Fucking love you, Taryn.
But just a good feeling to be around with those kind of people, and a cool experience.
It's such a crazy one though, because it's a flat, but it was just like, I think everyone definitely had their ups and downs in there as well. Like, I don't want to name any, but people definitely had some low moments in there. But because you're around all the homies, and someone might have been through it before, they sort of helped guide you through those hard times. That happened to me multiple times. Me and Stan went through a similar thing at exactly the same time, and because we'd been through it and we went through it together, it was a little bit easier,
For sure.
And yeah, man, it's just crazy to see where everyone's at now from that house.
Crazy.
And man, even when you go past it now, you like get a little bit of goosebumps,
Oh man, But those, and that's the thing, like those experiences and that hardship is what brings your relationship so much, makes it so much stronger. And you can look back on those times and be like, man, that really shaped me into who I am now. So, yeah. Some cool experiences, man.
Fucking goosebumps, G. I need to get back in there. Fuck,
real.
we all should have bought the house, eh? We'll put 10 grand in or something. Fuck,
Bro.
actually, it's probably like 5 mil.
For real.
Oh, bro. So, back to the Breakers. So, you obviously, and then because you're the video analysis guy at the Breakers, and I mean, that must have helped loads because, a massive part of coaching is, being able to understand and cut down video, right?
Yeah. I mean, so from the junior Breakers stuff, I basically volunteered my time. Jed Flavel at the time, who's assistant coach at the Southeast Melbourne right now, and he was an assistant at the Breakers. He was in charge of the high school academy at the Breakers at the time. And I basically just went up to him and I said, man, I want to just be involved. And I'll come, I'll do the 3 mornings a week. I want to be around these guys. I feel like I can help out. You don't have to, whatever you need from me, I'll help out. And then from there, like I did that for like a year and a half. And then from that, and just doing the grind and just being, wanting to help, higher level athletes. At that time, there were some great high school kids that were coming through. Yanni, Wetzel, Dan Fotu, like those guys, Matt Freeman, those guys were all involved when I was there. But even before that, Isaac Fotu, Ty, Rubes, Shay, like those all guys that came through the academy. So I was like, I want to be involved in this shit. Like I want to help these guys in any way I can. So that was a big part of it. And then through that, I was just kind of around the gym, doing the junior Breakers coaching, doing the academy stuff. Dean Vickerman was just coming off a year where they missed the playoffs, and he was obviously felt pretty disappointed. So he just came up to me and he's like, man, we don't have a lot of money for you, but we want to create a role that's just going to basically, a video analysis role that I think that you could fill. And I was like, bro, say less. I'm doing it.
Fuck,
like,
I'm on.
Yeah.
Learning from all those guys too.
Learning from all those guys.
Just being in the environment, though.
Bro, it's just like, at that time it was Dino, Paulie, and Judd. So that was the coaching staff. But Dylan was there as like the GM. Obviously the Blackwells were there, and that was a cool experience, just being able to see how they work.
Oh, bro.
So that was cool. So like without hesitation, I was like, bro, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna grind it out. Like I said, I wasn't getting paid shit, but what I'm investing in the team, I'm getting in return because I'm learning off some of the best coaches in the world. So I took that opportunity and ran with it. And
was that how did you guys go those few seasons? Because I mean, even just being in the environment must have been crazy. But what was did they do well those few seasons?
First year it was the year that we won on the buzzer.
Oh shit!
Yeah, at Beckway's fadeaway buzzer beater. Yeah, so that was cool. I mean, that whole year was cool. Like a great group. Mika's not Mika's last year, but it was kind of, he was a big part of that.
Yeah.
And obviously being around the brothers, Rubes and Shay and stuff like that, just being able to, obviously like close friends, but just being around them every day. We lived together, which was cool.
Yeah.
Jordan Natai, he was there. Like we all shared a house, we shared a flat.
That's right.
Yeah. So, great first year, and then obviously stuck it out for another 4 after that.
Sure. And then, obviously the video that whole time, and I know you're a part of St. Kitts, and, that's a massive achievement in itself. So when did you head over to St. Kitts, and can you sort of talk us through when you first got there and sort of where it is now?
Yeah, I mean, like, bro, people ask me all the time, like, how did you get to this position? Because I'm in a fortunate position right now. There's not a lot of coaches in New Zealand that get paid to be a full-time coach.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm obviously at St. Kitts right now, full employee of the school, but I always tell people, like, it wasn't easy. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I had to grind it out for a good 4 to 5 years.
Fucking A.
Making jack shit. Like, that was just my grind. That was my mindset. But I knew that the sacrifices that I made and the struggle that I made is going to put me in a position to get rewarded at some stage. And I've always had that mindset. So it was, I think, after my 3rd year at the Breakers, the job came up. I think I applied for it. Dylan Boucher was like, man, you need to jump on this. Like, this could be you. So he put a really good recommendation for me, and that was just because of the work that I did with the Breakers, like them seeing me grind it out and be available to the team and doing whatever I could to help the team through that experience, through that grind. Dylan gave me a recommendation, and that's what got me across the line.
And it's not like you asked for it. You didn't. You just, you're in the right place, right time. He saw you every day grinding for those years, and he saw, you're the man for the job, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
And I think,
shout out to Bouch.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Bouch, and he's someone I still work with the Huskies. So, great mentor in my life. But, that obviously kickstarted my St. Kitts role. At the time, they had just been relegated from Prems, so we had to. The season that I came in, we had to basically try to jump back up into Prems.
And that's Auckland Prems.
That's Auckland.
So
Prems.
that's not. They're not even in just to give a bit of context. So there's obviously Premier League, which is the top, and then there's the second league. They were in that, so they weren't even going to regional. They weren't going to nationals or anything. Were you? You got to be in that top league.
Top league.
So you came in, and you're in the second. You're in the second div, basically.
Yeah. So the first year, it was crazy. So my first semester, my first term, there was a tournament to get back into Prems for that year. So I was just chucked in this is your team, you got a term to get these guys right, and then obviously the tournament, and it was an 8-team tournament, only one spot available. We made it to the final, but we ended up losing to Kelston, and I think it was a crazy game. We had it at St. Kitts. I think we lost by 1 or 2 points, and obviously gutted. I came in, I was hyped. I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to get this team back into Prems. So that whole year, we grinded it out in the social league. So we had to play out east and out south, and just Tuesday night. And obviously, for those that understand school basketball, Friday night is the night, but we're fucking going out and playing Tuesday night, and some Rick Center, and fucking, we ain't fucking. We're playing teams, and we're we're winning games, but then we're losing games that we should be winning. So it's just fuck,
it's hard playing.
Get us back to this,
It's hard playing against teams that are teams that aren't up to your level sometimes, because you sometimes play at their level.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I know what you mean, though, it must be so frustrating that way. Fuck.
And we hadn't built that culture yet. That winning culture.
Yeah.
So we would go in we would have a good 3 or 4 weeks. And then we'd get into a game and play a team that was not on our level, but because they had a crowd, and we're St. Kitts, and we had that that rich school mentality, they would beat us and they'd talk shit, and we just weren't ready for that. And we'd lose a game, and we just completely crumble. So I was like, man, something's got to change. We got to start building this the right way, or else we're gonna be stuck here. We're gonna be stuck in the second division for as long as I'm here, and I probably won't have a job for very long.
Yeah.
So
how did you change that culture?
I mean.
You think it was a culture change? Must have been, right?
I mean, it was man, I think the biggest message that I've had since I've been in St. Kitts is you just got to fall in love with the process, the grind. You kind of just got to buy into that from the jump. It's a long season. People don't understand. This, we're just finishing the NBL season, and that shit's felt long. But the high school season, you start in term 1 and you finish in October. That's 9 months. Close to 9 months, and then you got the off season and stuff as well. We're just halfway through our season right now, but if you don't buy into that, if you don't understand the grind of that is, then you're never gonna want it. But obviously, if you can, then obviously the rewards are there. Damn,
that's crazy, bro. So you're in that second div. What happens then? That's next year.
So the next year we had another tournament, but this time it was a 16-team tournament.
Oh my! And one spot available.
One spot available. So you had to win every single game. So you had to win every game of your pool. Then it would go to a quarterfinal, semifinal, and final.
It's like the fucking Hunger Games.
Bro, and I'll never forget that tournament, and every game. We ended up obviously making the final, and we played Avondale, and it was just the craziest game. Back and forth. They had some good talented players on their team. Very close the whole game, and it came down to free throws. And one of our best players in the time stepped up and made 2 free throws, down 1.
Oh,
from there we got a stop and got the win, and from there just started to make a run.
Damn.
Yeah.
Talk about that run though, bro. That run's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, so that year we had the goal was to stay in Prems.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a grind in itself, because so many teams jump up to 7 or 8. Jump up to the Prems League, but then they drop down because they finished 7th or 8th in the comp, which means you have to try and get back the next year. And we just wanted to stay out of that.
That top 6 sort of.
And we had a game, the last game against McLean's of that season. We had to win. Bro, we had to win this is crazy. We had to win by 18 points to make it through. and we won by 22.
Oh my gosh. Bro, your heart rate must have been a roof, G.
Crazy.
Get the Apple Watch on, bro. I want to see their heart rate.
Yeah, bro.
Shit.
So we ended up taking that one out. It was at home. Some like guys that hadn't played all year stepped up, and like one of them made like 4 threes. So that was crazy. So that we got that, and then from there, got some support from the school. Identified a few players that wanted to come to St. Kitts and take an opportunity, and obviously we had established ourselves as a premier team. So I got 2 scholarship players that next year, battled it out all year, finished 3rd at nationals.
Oh, that's massive.
Had a great run, and my mindset with the team has always been like, we're peaking for nationals, or we're peaking for that regional tournament. That's our goal.
Yeah.
Such a long season, like obviously you got to take every game at one at a time, but like our goal is to get our bodies right, our minds right for that October kind of time frame.
For sure.
So we had a great run at nationals, finished 3rd, and then that just gave our confidence just went up. Like, we can do this.
We can do this. For people that don't know, like secondary schools nationals, I think is a lot harder than like rep nationals, because you don't have your team is good, but it's not as good. It's not the best players in the city. Like the Wellington rep teams are the best. 5 teams, and might have 2 from your school, 2 from another school, but your high school team, you might have a good 5 or 6.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And the other 2 might play rugby, and you just got to fit in where it works.
Yeah, and then in that 2018 year, we came up against Rosmini, who was assembled probably one of the best teams of all time
for sure.
From the high school, like from 1 to 12, they had guys on their team that didn't make the team that would be starting on 95% of all other high school teams. Like, that's how good they were. And so we came up against them in the semi. We got smacked, but that was a great learning for us. And like you said, like, we're not the deepest teams, but like they just gave us our confidence going into that next year.
Bro, I'll never forget the one year we went to Nats. We actually got top 8, which was massive for our school because we are not a basketball school at all. But Ana Haku played for Rosmini with Elliot Bryars.
Shout out Hucks.
Shout out Hucks, bro. And Elliot Bryars. And bro, I remember they had legit 5 players, bro, or 6 players, and these dudes were like, I mean, they were fit, but it was just like the whole tournament, you're like, these guys are not gonna, they're gonna blow out.
Yeah,
they never did.
Nah, bro,
and they won.
They took
it
out.
was ridiculous, bro. I remember that shit, and it was like, how, like that doesn't work in basketball. You can't have like people were like full court pressing them, they were trying to tie them down, but somehow they just made it work, right?
Yeah,
bro.
Yep. No.
So what? That next year, you obviously got 3rd. You got smacked by Rosmini. Obviously, a massive learning curve. And then the year after, how did you guys do?
Yeah, so that year was we basically just said let's run it back and let's give ourselves a chance and let's buy in. Like let's do everything that we can to give ourselves a shot when it comes to that October tournament. And credit to the guys, they did. I had some great leaders on my team. I had co-captains. Martin and Alex, who were just unbelievable in terms of their consistency and effort.
Is Alex playing now?
Alex plays for the Giants right now. Yeah, so he plays down there, and he was unbelievable in terms of our success. And you're gonna need those kind of players. Like obviously, Alex he was a water polo player, but he kind of transitioned to basketball, and he just grinded it out, and obviously become a great player. So you just kind of need pieces like that just to fall into place. And like I said, he just led us from start to finish. From year 9, he started like games, and then from year 13, that was like year 12, year 13, he just obviously grew into that role. And we used to play, Rosmini, and he was year 10, and we'd be getting beat by 40, but he was playing 40 minutes a game. So by the time we get to that year 12 year 13, he's ready. He's ready. Like he's like, I can take these. I've been playing against these dudes since I was 14, 15.
Yeah,
and I know what it takes. So it was just that perfect storm of, guys like him who had been there from the start, but also guys who stepped up, that we needed to step up. And we had great size that year, physical team. And, we just made a great run during the season, got the number 1 seed at regionals, which was the number 1 seed at nationals that year.
That's huge.
And it was huge because for those that don't know now, like the way that the tournament's set up, if you finish first in your pool at nationals, you get a bye to go into quarters, but the other 2 teams, so the second place team and the third place team from another pool, they have to play an additional game that morning to make the quarterfinal. So it basically takes away, like there's obviously like great pools at that tournament, and there'll be a pool of 4 or 5 with 3 really good teams, just because there's so many good teams in New Zealand. So what they wanted to do was take away that, that the risk of a good team missing out. So they give them another life.
Yeah.
But our goal was to finish top in our pool.
So you have to do
so we can just have that
straight
rest.
through.
And because we're not a deep team, we needed that rest, right? So we watched the team, I think Westlake battle it out against St. John's in the morning. Then we played them in the quarters, had a great game, one of our best games. We just caught fire. Semi-final, we played Mags, who were tough all year, bro.
Yeah.
Tough all year. They had guys like Josh Ledger, Nate Wilson, guys that are, just stupid athletes. And they just had a good team, gritty team, coached well. So we just, I think it was like 65-60 was the final score. Just intense.
Damn, a lot of D, bro. Pause.
Crazy. So we grinded that one out, and then from there we got Rosmini, who were back-to-back champs going into that game. Matchup that we liked all year. Obviously, Matt and Sonny led those team, and it was Tane Murray was in that team. They had a great team. Sean Murphy, who's with the Huskies now. But man, it just all came together, and we just had a great first half. They came back. I think we were up 17 or 16. They cut it to 1 or 2, and we just hung on. We made enough plays in that fourth quarter to stretch out the lead, and then we finished it off, and became champs.
You won nationals. So going from second div, just making it into prems, all the way to nationals and winning it. But what was that feeling? Because I guess you literally, as Drake would say, started from the bottom. Now we're here, right? You literally started from a bunch of guys that could sort of play. You got some help from the school and shit, but bro, nonetheless, you won one of the hardest trips you can in New Zealand.
Yeah.
How did that feel, bro?
Oh man, the feeling was for the players, right? Like you just see, especially with guys like Alex and Martin who were there from the start. Like it's a great feeling for yourself, and you obviously got to acknowledge that. But you just loved. For me as a coach, I just love seeing players be successful and getting rewarded for the work that they put in. So that was the best feeling of all, like just seeing how much work they had put in, and then having that moment where they just like Alex, I think, just collapsed on the floor after when the final was there. And
all that grind, bro.
We got great footage. Like we had great support with our families and stuff, and we got all that footage. And like that's stuff that I always look back on. I'm just like, man, that was hell of a ride, hell of a journey.
That's crazy. And then obviously did all that stuff. You're still at St. Kitts, but transitioning from I'm a high school basketball coach to now the head coach of the Auckland Huskies. How's that been, bro? The transition?
Man, it's been really cool. It hasn't felt like a huge jump up for me because the team that we assembled this year was a very young team. So I'm still dealing with a lot of high school players and guys that are first year out of high school.
Sure.
So in terms of our imports, we didn't get our imports in until kind of halfway through the season or kind of a quarter through the season. So I was coaching a bunch of high school kids to start the season, especially in preseason. So that really helped me obviously gain my confidence going into the season that, I obviously can coach at this level, which I always knew I could. But because I had those younger guys, it wasn't like I was taking a massive step to coach, guys that are experienced and, played at an elite level. So it was a lot of basic stuff that I'd already been working on at St. Kitts, and that obviously, transferred straight into the Huskies program. And then from there, we just had pieces kind of come in.
Yeah.
We had Chris Johnson, who came in, who was great for our group. Justin Bibbs, Tommy V.
Yeah. So
it was just kind of like piece by piece. But because we already built that group, that culture, those guys just slid in, and from there it was easy. And they saw that the work that the boys had put in, so they trusted that. They saw the work that we put in as a group. Yeah. So when they came in, it's like let's fucking get this.
Let's go.
Let's get this thing rolling.
I've got to ask you, bro. Coaching the mighty Brooke Rusko. How's that been, bro?
Oh man, I get asked this all the time.
Do you?
But it's been awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like I think the thing that I'm like most satisfied with is he's been healthy throughout the year. Like, there was a lot of questions coming in. Like obviously he had the hip surgery. Hadn't played in a long time. So just for him to get through the season and still be playing at a high level, man, it's been so cool. Like obviously that's one of my best friends. He's the captain of the group, so he does a great job of leading us. Whenever we need a good chat, we go straight to Brooke. He's not shy of a chat. So
he's not.
But he's great. Like he does so much for our team off court, and even on court. Like he's just that he's a big time player. You know, when those lights turn on, Brooke's gonna show up.
Oh,
So
for sure.
it's been cool to see him kind of get back into the league and have a great year. So, no, but it's been awesome.
I mean, you think he'll be back next year?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so, especially after the success we've had this year.
for sure.
He's been a big part of that, so I'd love for him to run it back.
I mean, all right. So first question. I just did some Spitfire ones that I thought would be pretty good from you. Favorite NBA player?
Favorite NBA player right now would be Dame Lillard
Because
/ Luka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so nice, eh,
Yeah.
bro?
I've always been a fan of Dame. He's just obviously a killer, and just always obviously been loyal to the Blazers.
Yeah,
But obviously big time player and steps up when his team needs him to. And then Luka, he just plays the game the right way, just all fundamentals. But
so nice.
But also has that kind of, I don't know, that
Edgy, eh?
that edge,
Yeah.
bro. And he just plays with that shit, and he's gets it done. Obviously, I've been actually watching him because Isaac played in his league when he was 16.
Yeah,
We used to talk about him when he was 16. It's like, this dude's fucking hooping at 16 in like the Spanish league. So it's kind of cool to obviously see him since then, like been following him, and now obviously he's doing it at a high level.
yeah. Oh, he's the fucking man. Favorite NBA coach? Doesn't have like past or present.
Spoelstra,
Yeah,
been a huge fan of Spoelstra. Obviously Pop, he's the GOAT.
yeah.
And then there's probably the two that really stand out. Yeah.
You don't have to answer this one because I know it's a hard question, but best player you've coached?
Best player I've coached. I would say the Alex and Martin will probably be the two that come out.
Yeah.
That come to mind, just because they without them, like the success that we've had at St. Kitts wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah.
There were guys that I coached from year 9 till year 13, and obviously to see had the success that we've had, like they were a huge part of that. So Martin still helps out with the Huskies, like volunteers his time, still helps out with St. Kitts. So it's cool to see like those
That's
people.
awesome.
Yeah, it's cool to see like people have that, and obviously Alex, I'm still extremely close with, and to see him continue to go play. So those two kind of stand out, but there's been a lot of good players along the way.
Biggest difference between New Zealand basketball and United States basketball?
That's a great question. Obviously, the athleticism is the first thing that stands out. It's a different game over there. You have to be able to stay in front of guys, and that's tough to do. You got athletes across the board, 1 to 5. But man, I would say the biggest thing, and it's a long way off, is just our work ethic here in this country. Like, we don't know what work is. We don't know what the grind is. We don't know what it takes. And even I don't. Like, I haven't been in that environment, so I don't really know. But I've got good connections in the States who, they call me up. They work at Division I programs all the time, and they're just like, these kids are different. Like, they know what they need to do, and there's no other option. There's no plan B for them. All right, especially the ones that come from, like... That's
probably it, right, too.
Yeah. They have no other choice.
It's their way out.
And I guess for a coach, in my position, that's frustrating because, especially when I'm working here, is because you see all this talent here. The talent's there in this country, but they don't know what the work is. Like, I've seen it with the Huskies. I've seen it with the school. I've seen it like across the board. Like, man, it's hard to watch, man. Like, because you want to help them and you want to give them the opportunities, but at the same time, there has to be that self-discipline. There has to be that self-drive that gets them to that next level.
Yeah, if they don't want it.
If you don't want it, it doesn't matter how much you invest in them, and always invest in players. Like, it doesn't matter how lazy you are. It doesn't matter. Like, if I see talent and if I see a player that has potential, I will invest my time in you and do everything I can to get you that next step. But at some stage, you have to flick the switch and be like, okay, that's not going to be enough. Like, I got to push myself.
Yeah.
So I think that's by far the biggest thing right now.
Bro, it's like Kenny McFadden, bro. He's like, for the last 30, people will know who Kenny McFadden is. He's basically the reason Stephen Adams is who he is today.
Yeah.
Because of he always said, I'm going to be here every morning at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Rain, anything. I'll be here. I'll be opening the doors. If you want to come and you want to get to the next level, I'm providing this for you. But I'm not going to come up and get you out of bed.
No.
Because that's you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's obviously Steve's 7 foot, and everyone knows that. But he wouldn't be where he is today without getting up every morning at 6 a.m. And I can vouch for that because he did that shit every morning.
Every morning.
And he wanted it. And and as you say, he didn't have a plan B either, bro.
No.
I mean, he could have gone working the farm or some shit, but he saw a little bit of potential. And he saw, oh, I can actually compete with some of these guys when he went to the Adidas Nations and shit. And he saw, this is his way out, and how he can provide for his whole family.
Yeah, and that's a great example because it's obviously homegrown. The dude's 7 foot, but fuck, he didn't just wake up and become an NBA player.
Yeah.
Like, he had to grind his way to that spot. And there's a lot of good examples of guys like that. Ty's a great example, Isaac, like everyone, Shea, Rubes, like all those guys, like I got to see firsthand them put in the work. And it didn't, like I said, they're just patient with their shit, but they're consistent. I mean, that's what separates them, is that consistency.
For sure. All right. So on the potty, I like to do a little sit down 3-course meal. So if you can pick any person you want to sit down with for a 3-course meal, it can be dead or alive, can be someone that is inspired. Easy? You got it. Who is it?
Nipsey Hussle.
Oh, shit. That's a good one, bro.
Yeah.
Why him?
Man, he's just someone that's like impacted my life from like just on like all fronts. Like, he's just someone that I followed obviously before he passed away, before he was murdered. Like, I listened to his music every day. I still listen to his music every single day. He's just like someone that was ahead of his time in terms of business, mindset, the way he approached life. Definitely someone that's like, he's in my ear every single day. Yeah. And he just like I said, he saw things from a different lens, and it would just be so cool to be able to kind of sit down with him because I feel like he has so much knowledge, and obviously his life was cut short, which is obviously devastating, but he left us with so much knowledge as well. So I always go back and watch his interviews, listen to his music. You always pick up on, little things because it's like there's so much stuff in there. For sure. Oh, man. Rest in peace. So you got this 3-course meal with Nipsey Hussle. You can have it anywhere in the world. Where are you going to have it? That's a good question. I would say, I mean, it doesn't have to be like a restaurant. It could be like location. Yeah. I would like go somewhere where he's like, where somewhere he grew up, or someone close to him, so he could like kind of express like, this is where I came from. Yeah. That would be cool. Cool. Yeah. So where is it? It's not Crenshaw, is it? He's from Crenshaw. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously LA. Yeah. LA based. So yeah. Main. So you're in Crenshaw with Nipsey Hussle. What are you gonna have as a starter? A starter? Ooh. I know you're a big foodie too. That's a good question. Man, just something. I mean, go with something like I like Mexican a lot. You do. Mexican's my shit. So I don't know. Not many people know tamales, but tamales are that's my favorite food. It's like a Mexican, it's kind of like a corn husk bread. And then you can just put different shit in them, but that's up there. That'll be a good starter. Quite filling, but good starter. On a side note, you know that Mexican place out west? You know that's like literally just down the road from my house now. Oh shit! It's just dangerous. Yeah. Shit! Salido lindo. Yeah, Nick Lev. What are you gonna have as your main? Main. I mean, I'll go away from Mexican, but one of my favorite meal is my mom's lasagna. Oh man, that shit's fire. Yeah, that's unmatched. So I have to go with that. But yeah. So you're gonna send that over? Have to. What about dessert, bro? Dessert? I don't know. I'm a huge banoffee pie fan. Oh, that's my shit. That's Nick Lev. Yeah, that's good banoffee pie. Can't beat that. Yeah. All right, bro. That's a mean little lineup. Last question, bro, because I know you got shit to do. 5-year plan. I know people do like to take shit day by day, but I think it's essential to have a 5-year plan or some sort of plan. And try sort of, steer your way to that 5-year plan. But what's your 5-year plan, bro? Yeah, I think, obviously I want to try and build this Huskies organization up and, continue to make an impact with the St. Kitts program. But I'm not going to be here forever. I think the next step for me is getting involved and being involved with an ANBL team. That's my goal. That's my dream. It's such a cool league. And the direction it's going right now is crazy. Like, the players that they're getting, the marketing, the exposure. Like
They've just leveled up.
Leveled up. Like it's like
Everything.
more than any other league in the world.
For sure.
And because it's, in our backyard and across the ditch, and I have so many connections with that league already, that would be ideal. So I would say 5 years. I'd love to be, a head coach. But obviously I understand that there's steps that you have to take to get to that level. Like you can't just rock up and be a head coach at that level. So I think being an assistant coach in the NBL in 5 years on a good team, that's where I want to be.
Fucking you're well on the way, brother. Hey,
Appreciate it.
thank you for coming on, bro. And as I say, from meeting you at the Mansh, G, as you say, we've been hustling together, and it's cool to see one of the homies do his thing. And as I say, on the weekend, seeing you, seeing B out there, seeing everyone, it does warm my heart massively, bro. And I can't wait for you to for the next 5 years, bro.
I got a little something I brought.
Oh shit!
I think I brought this in because I want to know how much this shit's worth. This is one of the first hoodies that you made.
Oh my god!
But there's no dot.
Oh shit! There's no dot. Oh, so everyone look at the camera right now. And if you're listening, that's one of the OG. I think I must have done that one, right?
Oh yeah, you did that.
So back at the Mansh, I actually had my own heat press and I put that down. But fuck, that's crazy, bro.
You should hook up all the boys.
But hey, bro, appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of your journey and hopefully coming back on the potty in a few years, and hopefully in 5 years to see you being a head coach for one of those teams, bro.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, G.
Okay.
All right, boy.
Let's go.